Welcome to IVTNN's Good Morning World. The Afghanistan problem is becoming more and more serious, and recently America has dropped so many bombs in the Taliban concentrated camps where they believe that they could mitigate the threat of Taliban on American forces and the American people. It is not the way, because the Taliban is a force that was designed, funded and trained by CIA, and now it has become the threat to the rest of the world. Most probably one can say that Taliban was is the mother of all Islamic terror group in this world. It was the Taliban that has shown the Islamic world that they could fight for the right of Islamic community, which was denied by the world on behalf of Israel, which was being supported by the Americans and the other Western and European forces and the nations, as well as the leaders of Europe and the rest of the world, except a few Asian nations. In that context, the Taliban has the fatherhood of America and motherhood of Pakistan, and these two countries have now struggling to contain the threat of Taliban, which has grown up as a demon for the world and its security. In that context, what Russia has decided, it would move its soldiers like to helping the Syria and Abbas regime from the rebels. The same strategy Russia could use to save the Afghan civil forces. In that context, India could consider taking over the Pak-occupied Kashmir, which would become the border of Afghanistan, and India could play a big role. If India want to play a big role along with Russia in the peace process of Afghanistan, and smoking out Taliban from the Afghans and mitigating its threat to the Afghan people and Afghan military and the civil administration, then India has to capture the Pak-occupied Kashmir from Pakistan before they do anything in favor of Afghan forces. Otherwise, Indian forces may get killed by the Taliban unnecessarily because interfering into the Afghanistan's issue. Obviously, Afghanistan is a one friendly nation and India had a lot of interest in that area. However, the India's interest will increase only if India occupy the Pak-occupied Kashmir. Otherwise, India won't be able to play a key role. Recently, Pakistan played a key role to bring the Taliban onto the table, across the table, to discuss a deal with the American administration, which was successful. That has reduced the importance of India in the issue of Afghanistan. Right now, the Afghanistan administration and the army has requested India to help them out to fight the Taliban, but India should not interfere before they take over the Pak-occupied Kashmir, which would get an expanded border with Afghanistan, and India could easily mobilize its forces against the Taliban forces, and it is easy to fight them. Taliban is a trained and war-fought army and seasoned rebels, which has occupied a lot of the tribal area and mountain areas where they use it as a fort, and it would be a task for the Indian forces to fight and win Taliban, which was a headache for this Russian forces, former Soviet forces, and now the American force, which was easily defeated by the Taliban. In that context, India should consider 10 times before moving its force into the Afghanistan, unless and before it has taken over the Pak-occupied Kashmir and accede it to make it as a part of India, so that it would be easy for India to mobilize its army as well as its resources to help the Afghanistan forces. So it is advised to the Indian administration and Indian military forces now to move its force to help the Afghanistan force unless and until it takes over the Pak-occupied Kashmir to make its mobility and mobilization very easy for them if they want to win the war against Taliban, because Taliban is not doing any trouble with India. Taliban is doing only trouble with the Afghanistan administration and Afghanistan people. So India has only limited interest. Obviously, it has a geographical interest. So long as Pakistan is occupying the Pak-occupied Kashmir, India will have to play only a secondary role. But once India occupy the Pak-occupied Kashmir, India will become a major player in the Afghan affairs. And it would be easy for Russia from one border and India from the Pak-occupied Kashmir border to take over the Afghanistan and establish a strong administration and liberate Afghan people from the grip and tentacles grip of Taliban forces. So India should consider taking over Pak-occupied Kashmir first before mobilizing its force against the Taliban at any point of time. Otherwise, it will be a sacrificing and India will lose life of its soldiers unnecessarily. And with this, we are ending this week's IVTNN's Good Morning World. Have a nice day.